Alright, RocSports, I'm back with another video. As you can tell, this is me addressing the Eagle hate. I feel like I do this video so much, but it needs to be addressed. Let's get right into it. This is not my normal setting. Again, this is the work setting right now. So, you know, normally I have my green screen, but I don't have it right now. But I wanted to get this video out. So I got a little notepad here, some stuff I want to touch on with this video. Again, this is strictly talking about the Eagles and Jalenhurts and the disrespect that I feel like they've been getting. More so the Eagles, like Jalenhurts is starting to get his just due. But don't get me wrong, it's still a lot of work to be done. He hasn't done nothing yet, really. But he still have achieved, you know, some good stuff. I put it this way. Every other 31 teams in the NFL will want to be 8-0. Let's just leave it at that. But which brings me to my first point. The Eagles are 8-0. So we're going to talk about the Eagles being 8-0 first. Is there any other team in the league 8-0? Rhetorical question, obviously. Why can't the Eagles get credit and be number one in these power rankings of being 8-0? You only are what your record says you are. Now, I understand if you got your one-loss teams, if you got your two-loss teams, and especially at the teams at the top can necessarily cancel each other out early in the season, right? But when you talk about the teams like, say, Buffalo, when you talk about the teams like, say, the Chiefs, the Chiefs have a terrible loss. That loss to Indy is terrible. You know what I mean? So I'm saying that to say it's hard to win in the NFL. I think everybody knows that. You don't have to play in the NFL or be a professional athlete to understand how hard it is to win in the NFL. You can see that. Especially if you were, if you're a real football fan, you can see that. So for them to pull these games out, they done won games in multiple ways. For them to still be standing 9 weeks into the season or 10 weeks into the season because they had their bye at 8-0, that's remarkable in my opinion. And for the people that say that they haven't played nobody, who's their best win? The Eagles I'm talking about. The Eagles' best win is against the Vikings and is against the Cowboys. First thing first, people that talk about the strength of schedule. Last time I checked, Dallas is 6-2. Last time I checked, the Giants is 6-2. They played both of those teams in total of 4 times. I mean, combined. They played both twice. Y'all know what I'm saying. So my point is, those are 2 good teams right there that you have to play. That's 4 of your games, 4 of your 17 games right there that they have to play. And they already won one of those games, one of the 4. So, and then when you look at what they did to Minnesota, whose only loss is to the Eagles, look at the NFC landscape as a whole for the people that says the Eagles haven't beat nobody. Who is it that the Eagles should beat during the regular season to get their credit worth in the NFC? Okay, then. I'm saying that because how is it that we can sit up here and say, oh, they haven't beat nobody when they beat the top 2 teams in the NFC? But it don't matter about the AFC. The Eagles don't play nobody in the AFC that when it really matters until the last game. If they make it there, you know what I'm saying? The Super Bowl. That's the only game that matters. So the Eagles beating the Bills or the Chiefs don't validate nothing for me. You know what I mean? People keep glossing over the 49ers. Yes, they have the talent, but at the end of the day, they're not healthy right now. So stop talking to me about what they're going to be or they're not that right now. They're not healthy. So at the end of the day, if we talk about the NFC, it starts and stops with the Eagles. And beyond that is the Vikings and the Cowboys are the next 2 best teams in the NFL, in the NFC right now. Can the 49ers be there in 3 weeks, in 1 week, when they start getting more of their guys back? Sure. We've seen them make runs in the past, so respect is granted. I respect the 49ers. But to sit up here right now and say that they better than Dallas, that they better than Minnesota, that they better than the Eagles, that's straight BS. No way. Jalen Hurts, if he's not number 1 on your MVP, rankings, he should be number 2. I don't know who you would have over him at this point, to be honest. From the standpoint of Tua has missed games. So can Tua potentially pass them if they say go undefeated the rest of the season? Absolutely. And you know, if they go undefeated the rest of the season, that would assume Tua's balling. You know what I mean? So Tua has an opportunity, as do all of the top quarterbacks that's at the the list. Tyreek Hill, but Tyreek Hill case was hurt when Tua went out, because obviously the lack of production and, the wins and losses. You know what I mean? So that's why we see quarterbacks winning so much, because look at the Dolphins with and without Tua. I mean, you can say the same thing with Tyreek Hill, but it's like, bro, they couldn't do nothing without Tua. You know what I mean? And Tyreek Hill included. So, I mean, Jalen Hurts should be, if not number one, he should be right behind that 2 on your MVP ranking. I'm saying that because, yes, it would be great and refreshing to see another position win MVP other than quarterback. But let's just be honest. I mean, they really are the most valuable position in all of sports. So it's obviously easy to give it to them. Like if you're talking about the Eagles team, who's the MVP of the Eagles team? It's Jalen Hurts. Yes, Dariusslay has had a hell of a year. Lane Johnson has had a hell of a year. Milessanders, ajbrown, James Bradley. So many guys have had great seasons. But Jalen Hurts is the MVP of that team. If you watch Eagles games, you would know that from jump. He's top 10 in passing yards for the people that already, wanted to knock his passing ability. And I know that stats can be misleading from the standpoint of 5-yard pass can go 90 yards and the quarterback could carry. I understand that. But at the end of the day, watch the Eagles games. He's going over the top, everything. Jalen Hurts has elevated his level of play so much, and that's the reason why the Eagles are who they are. Yes, we have made tons of moves, and talking Howie Roseman and just the staff in general with the trades and the offseason signings, but at the end of the day, you still got to play the games. So many teams look good on paper. Look at the Raiders. They went and made the move for Devontae Adams, and everything looks great on paper. When you talk about the running game with Josh Jacobs, you got Hunter Renfrow, you got Darren Waller. Derek Carr is probably as accurate as it gets when, clean pocket. So it's like you would think that they would be much better. But at the end of the day, the game still had to be played. So the Eagles deserve so much credit for that in terms of all of the acquisitions that they made and the way that they've been able to implement them, and everybody's been able to, show their worth. But Jalen Hurts, man, it's not too many quarterbacks that's playing better than him right now. I'm not sure if there is one. Maybe Mahomes. But again, though, when we look at, I'm not just a stats guy. We gotta, and not even just at the end of the day, the goal is to win the game, right? The Eagles are 8-0. I'm saying that again. The Eagles are 8-0. And when you factor in how they won a lot of these games, the first game against the Lions, Eagles came out the gate getting blitzed. They were getting ran through. The Lions came out fired up at home. First game of the season. Teams feel good about themselves first couple weeks of the season. Everybody's pretty legit and competitive first weeks of the season. So playing the Lions in week 1 compared to in week 10 is a big difference. It's a different Lions team. Everybody's saying that passion that they was playing with. I mean, yeah, and on Hard Knocks and Jamal Williams and, all of the passion that they had. So the Eagles got to see all of that first and foremost up front, week 1. And they hit the Eagles right in the mouth. But the Eagles didn't waver, and that was all led by Jalen Hurts. He started breaking the quarterback. He started breaking the pocket, and he just opened a lot of things up. Take me back to the very next game when they played Minnesota. Come on, man. Look what they did to Minnesota. And this team, man, is so complete. And I honestly feel like nothing would stop this team other than injury. Don't get me wrong. And what I mean by that is that saying they're going to go undefeated? No. I wouldn't even want them to go undefeated, if I'm being honest. I would like them to get that monkey off their back. That don't mean, obviously, play to lose, but that just means some way, somehow, a team was better than us that day. It is what it is. When you look at the upcoming schedule, there's just a couple teams that can present some problems, and I'm about to get into that. But Jalen Hurts is the MVP. He's the engine that get this scheme going for the Eagles. It starts and stops with him. legit. And anybody that watched the Eagles games, y'all know that. From his running, you never know what you're going to get from the Eagles, too. You look at the Bills, though, the teams. So let's talk about the teams that can potentially be over the Eagles. I understand that the Bills and the Chiefs team and quarterback and coaching staff individually, like separately, all has the upper hand in that, over the Eagles. So I'm saying I know Josh Allen and Mahomes is necessarily better than Jalen Hurts, especially right now. From experience-wise, just with everything. And then you look at Andy Reid and Sean McDermott with Nick Sirianni. That's not a knock on my guys, Jalen Hurts and Sirianni, but they just got a little more work to do. You know what I mean? But in terms of these two teams, you look at the Bills' losses. Their loss against the Dolphins was just awful. Like, you look at the last couple seconds to that game, and you would think an experienced team would be able to pull something out like that. They didn't. They did not pull that game out. Same thing with the Jets last week. Josh Allen had some horrible turnovers. And yeah, I mean, it was a great game, and I know that Buffalo and the Kansas City is legit. I have them 2 and 3, but I just don't understand how teams can have them over the Eagles right now. How? I just don't. You only could be talking about what happened in the past if you had those teams on that. When this is a new season, we only talking about this season. So how is it that the Chiefs or the Bills are better than the Eagles this season? So let's take me to the Chiefs. That loss against Indy is one of the worst losses of the season by a winning team. You look at this defense as a whole, at every level, we have some studs, man. We have some studs. We got playmakers. We got ballers at every position. And most importantly, especially on the D-line, we have depth. Now, within that depth, though, I have to say, I do have some concerns with this team. Again, injury can hold anybody back. So that's first and foremost. But excluding injury, the run defense and Jonathan Gannon, hand in hand, it has to improve. Jonathan Gannon has to improve from the standpoint of putting guys in better positions. I understand that Hassan Reddick may have a past of doing certain things like, playing pass coverage. But that's not why we got him there. So I don't want to see him do it at all. I just look at it as like those are reps that can be for Nakobe Dean or Kaiser White. You know what I mean? Like my point is putting your players in position to succeed more. Gannon. So whether that's Jordan Davis coming in with certain runs when he gets back, Brandon Grant, shuffling these players around, man. That's one thing I admire about Dan Quinn with the Cowboys. One thing about it, you don't know how they're going to come from a defensive front standpoint. They may have all of their guys at the line of scrimmage in the 3 technique. Like you just, it's so many different looks they give you. And I wish the Eagles did that because we have the players and the skill sets within the players to really mix things up. And I think that they can really take this defense to another level. So I'm saying that to say, this is me. It's not a nitpick because it is an issue, but it's nitpicking from the standpoint this is a top 3 defense. And it's not much better in the league than that. You know what I mean? From like a San Francisco or Buffalo standpoint. Dallas is not better than the Eagles defensively. From a pass rush standpoint, they may be better. If I'm my head, in my face, from a pass rush standpoint, they may be better, but the Eagles are more complete. They are more deep. You know what I mean? The turnover differential as a team, but just the turnovers forced by the defense specifically has just been absolute bunkers, man. I think we 18 total with 12 picks or something like that. 15 picks. I don't know what it is. It's something crazy, but Slay got a lot of picks. Bradbury got a couple. C.J. Gardner-Johnson got a couple. Like, these dudes, man, they just flying high right now, and I don't see nobody better than them right now. So I think all of the questions that's about the Eagles, some of them is legit, but some of it is only time will tell. You know what I mean? But the questions about Jalen Hurts' play up until this point for what we needed to see throughout the regular season, those questions haven't been answered, at least for me. This is my franchise quarterback, for sure. Now, again, he still has to go prove it in the playoffs. It does you nothing to win in the regular season, but just seeding. But this team is complete, man. We can win running, passing, defensively, offensively, through the air. It don't matter. It don't matter. It all depends on, I think it's all predicated on who we playing. Styles make fights, and the Eagles are definitely a team that can adapt. So I know I've been ranting. I know this is a long video. I might have said some things in the loop, but that's what it is, man. Stop disrespecting Jalen Hurts. He's top 2 MVP candidate, should be the favorite right now. And stop disrespecting the Eagles as a whole. It's disrespectful to have us at 2 or 3. The Eagles are the best team in the NFL right now. That's it. That's RocSports. Stay tuned. We got a long season still heading the way. Stay healthy, Eagles, and let's keep flying, baby. Stay tuned. It's RocSports. I'm checking out. All of my boxing, NFL, and NBA fans, like, share, and subscribe, man. Keep coming back. I'm going to be dropping more content.